Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where we've got our first trick, maybe our first treat of Halloween, because if you look over above the portal in-game, you will see a fragment icon, not for the current fusion, but for Kaja the Wry, the fusion partner. What is going on? Well, let me show you. If we come over to the events tab in-game, you will see this brand new Jester deck of fate with fragments for, you guessed it, Kaja the Wry. So what is going on? We've got all these cards. How does it work? Well, very simple. You can flip these cards over and you will get different variations of these rewards. Well, within all of these cards, there's going to be a total of 100 fragments for Kaja the Wry. Pretty interesting. Now, it won't be one card will have 100 fragments. It's much more likely that perhaps something like there's going to be 10 of these different cards might have 10 fragments each, or maybe there's 5 cards with 20 fragments each. It's going to be something like that. So there you go. You might be able to finish this a little bit quickly, but fairly likely you'll have to flip almost all of these cards. And if you do, you can get yourself a Kaja the Wry. What other rewards are you going to get along the way? Not much that's good. Let me tell you right now. Kind of a whole lot of junk. You'll get a bit of energy. You'll get probably just the one legendary tome, a barrel, a chicken. Maybe there's more. I don't think so. I think that this is like the grand total of everything. So really, you're not getting much. This is all and pretty much only about getting Kaja. I mean, maybe you'll flip one card, get lucky, get a legendary tome. That will happen to somebody, I'm sure. But it's mostly just about the Kaja fragments. How do you flip this over? It costs 1,000 points to flip it. There are 8 cards across and there are 5 cards down. So there's 40 cards total. You need a total of 40,000 points to be able to flip everything and give you the best chance. Oh, I didn't mention, there are the fate chests as usual. So there are 21 commons, 13 rares, and 6 epics. Very few epics this time, actually. And if you match them, you will get this stuff. Again, like, the epic rewards are amazing, but you've got to get 3 in a row, and there's only 6 epics. Like, the chances of that are so small. And you probably flip them all and get, like, the energy, and you're like, well, that's totally useless. So, yeah, these fate chests, there's nice rewards in there, but this is something I basically never expect to get. I feel like if you flip the entire board, you might get like, I'd say you'd probably get on average 1 or 2 green chests and maybe 1 blue. That's probably fair. Someone could actually work out the probability of that. I'm not sure, but you might get 1 or maybe none of the chests. I tend to not really worry about it. So you might get some extra rewards. They're where the good rewards are, but that's not my focus. My focus is, let's look at this as getting the Kaja fragments. How do you earn fate pumpkins? 2 different sources. Number 1, getting artifacts and accessories. So dungeon divers. And then number 2, this is the bigger way, is summoning champions from shards. Dungeon divers is going to give you some points, yes. But realistically, if you want to get Kaja, this is effectively a guaranteed champion event dressed up in a different format. That's basically what this is. And here we go. This is basically how it goes. We've got 40 squares, which is 40,000 points, all of this. In order to get that 40,000 points, well, it's 2,000 a point for Sacred Shard. It would cost you 20 Sacred Shards. Primals are 800. In fact, let me bring that up here. Primal Shards are 800, so it would cost you 50 primals for anyone who has 50 primals. If you want to do it with void shards at 350 a pop, it would cost you about 114 voids. Then with ancient shards, 130, it costs you 308 ancient. So look, at a quick glance, let's be real, that is way too many ancients. That's crazy. So unlikely. That's probably way too many primals. We're really looking at sacreds and at voids for doing this. It's sort of what you expect from a sort of summon rush style event, is that ancients are terrible, primals are good, but nobody has any primals. Sacreds are good, and then voids are probably the best one in terms of if you were to buy this with money, that would be the best way to do it. But it's about your saved resources, I think, more so. Now, at the same time, I did a video on this yesterday, but we do have 10x events going on as well. So you will be able to double dip with 10x events. What are those champions? I will remind you. Here we go. These are the 10x champions. So Monday, let's look at voids first. If you're going to do this with void shards, what's the best day? Monday is Jorgid the Breaker. Tuesday is Volcanen. Wednesday is Hegemon. In my opinion, if you want to pull voids for Kaja, Jorgid the Breaker is the best one. So you'll be pulling your void shards today. And what you should do is work out how many you're gonna spend. So for example, for me, I might go in, I might pull my 6 void shards. I'm trying to stay at 120 voids in case there's ever a guaranteed event. I've been sitting here for a long time now, as you guys know, and there's no guaranteed event. So yeah, I'd probably pull the 6. Jorgid is absolutely brilliant. So I think he is probably worth chasing in a 10x. So that's not too bad. I would not be going for void shards for Volcanen or Hegemon. You can watch the video I did yesterday for an in-depth breakdown of what I think about both. I think Volcanen is interesting and Hegemon is very power crept. From Ancients Primal Sacreds, today is Kandrafon, tomorrow is Prince Kaimar, and Wednesday is Ultimate Death Knight. In my opinion, Tuesday, going for Prince Kaimar is definitely the place to do it. So if I worked out for me, like if I was going to say 6 voids is going to be, oh, you can buy primal shards. There you go. So 6 voids would give me, what's that? It's going to give me, but it's about equal to 1 say. I'll be looking at basically 6 voids and probably 19 sacreds, maybe 18 to do this. Plus dungeon divers would be my sort of expectation. So yeah, I'll probably, you know what? Let's pull right now. 6 void shards right now. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's do it right now and flip over a thing and see if we can find a Kaja. We actually got void epic. Gala, she's actually a really good champion. She's got ignore defense built into everything. So funny enough, even like endgame arena, she benefits when she's got shield buffs on as well. She's a really good partner with Nekret the Great. We got another epic Towering Titan. We're just pulling in the epics like crazy. This guy's very power crept. I did a great video with Ash talking about champions we'd like to see buffed, and he actually picked out Towering Titan. We got ourselves a rare, which is Retainer. I'd really like some of those rares still for the mythical fusion. Another epic. Oh, Akemtum. I think he's new. That's big. Akemtum is great. Akemtum, he does damage from poisons to everyone under Hex, which is super cool. He's got speed in all battles aura, which is great. Then he's got a triple hit AoE. Each hit can place or extend Hex. Then a triple hit A1 that can place poisons and also do debuff spreads from targets who are under Hex. So he's an amazing AoE poisoner, a great AoE Hex champion. That's a great one to have on my account. There's been guarantees for him for like 30 voids, I think. So, yo, I'm happy to pull him finally, randomly. Skirmisher, I don't think she matters. And then we've got, drumroll, no legendary for me. Eviscerator. Okay, so that's my voids, and that's me done for today. Yeah, 2,000 points. Let's flip 2 cards. I like to start in the top right corner. We got ourselves an XP barrel. It's pretty decent, actually. And another blue. It is 5 fragments. Okay. That actually means that there's probably 20 inch. What? Let me see. It's probably split up, you know? That would be my guess, right? Because that's 5 fragments on a rare card. You would need 20 rares to get enough, but there aren't 20 rares. There's 13. So there's probably some epic cards that I would guess there's probably epic card or 2 for her that give 20. I'd say if there was like 40 from epics, maybe 30 from rares, 30 from commons or something. I don't know. Something like that would be my guess. We'll find out. But that's interesting. So there's going to be all sorts of different amounts of fragments, it looks like, for her out there. I'm pretty close to getting a blue thing. There's now 11 out of 38. I don't know. I've got slightly less than a 1 in 3 chance that I will get a blue chest, which would be nice. But there you go. Needless to say, as you can see from this, let's talk about this. Is this worth going for? Let's talk about that, because that is the spicy question, isn't it? That is a very tough question. The reason I say this, and the reason I don't love this, is there's the Akemtum. He is new. That's awesome. So we are basically having a fusion for Timit, and at the same time, at the overlapping resource cost, we're having a guaranteed for Kaja at the same time. They're the partnership pair. You can watch my Timit video if you want. I feel like the comments and reactions to that video are very much I think it's a case of confirmation bias. You can look that up for yourselves if you want. But I really think that's going on with how people look at Timit and Kaja. I think if you go and you look at my video of Timit run with Kaja on the test server in Arena with an open mind, I think you'll see that the two together are actually very strong in Arena. They're very, very solid. Would I run them alone is another question. Timit without Kaja, in my opinion, is much weaker because he doesn't get the guaranteed extra turn, which I feel like is very strong. That's kind of what makes Timit good, is decreasing buffs, then getting an extra turn and putting out a fear. Problem is, without Kaja, if they've got Stone Skin, every Stone Skin's a 50-50 to remove the buffs, so you could easily fail to remove all their buffs. If they have Protection set or Bolster set, you're not going to get the extra turn, probably. So, yeah, I feel like he gets so much better when Kaja is there because he can actually combo these moves together. The guaranteed extra turn counters the 4-turn cooldown, basically brings it down to more like a 3-turn combo where it's like I strip all your buffs and then I put True Fear on all of you, which is actually very strong. And then those True Fears have that basically 50% chance to turn into a provoke as well. So he is way better when Kaja is there. Kaja is slightly better when Timit's there. So she actually starts gaining turn meter instead of losing it. She gets a full cleanse instead of a 2 debuff cleanse. When she revives, it's actually really good. She either brings Timit back with full HP turn meter, or if he's there and alive, which is what I think he'd aim for, he instantly activates his True Fear move and resets the cooldown, which is very, very strong, actually. And also gives everyone you revived increased accuracy too, which is really good. And she also heals Timit. So she makes Timit a lot better, and honestly, he makes her quite a chunk better too. I really think you want to run the two together. Like, that's the thing. I think one of them alone, I think Timit on his own is fairly weak. He's probably like a 3 out of 10. I think Kaja on her own, she's a good bit stronger, right? AoE revive her with cleanse and turn meter boost and a little bit of block debuffs. Speed, she's pretty decent. She's like maybe a 7 out of 10 or something, you know, for Arena. Like, she's a really solid reviver, AoE reviver. When you put the two together, I think they're like an 8 out of 10, you know, maybe 8.5 out of 10. Like, they're actually a really strong duo. They go well together. And I really do think I showed that in the Timit video. I think nobody wanted to hear it. I think there's a lot of bias there. I think you look at the two together and they're very good. But, and you can get the two together. You can do it now. By doing the fusion and the Jester deck of fate, you can get both of them. I'm going to get both of them. I think it's actually fairly likely. They're probably going to form one of my tag arena teams. And I've been playing the game for about 3 years now. But here's the big but. Here's the catch. You have to do a fusion and a guaranteed champion event at the same time. And that's a lot. And it is almost definitely and fairly required going to be the case that you either did all, is it gone now? I think it's gone now, but the summon rush for Timit, you would have had to do a lot of summon rush to get Timit fragments, and you're probably going to have to do a 2x sacred shard event to get Timit as well. So the amount of shards you need to have to do this is kind of crazy. I've got it because I've been saving sacreds for ages. Haven't bought a single one of these sacreds. Got to point that out every time. This has all been saved up. I've just been saving. So for me, I'm in a great spot to do this. But yeah, if you've been pulling for events, like, how are you going to complete both of these things? That's really tough. If you want to do it with money, you have to do it with void shards. And look, I think buying 100 void shards is going to set you back like, what, $300 probably? Slam $300 into, 100 shards and a 10x for Jorgud. Let's get a Kaja out of it. Like, is that a good use of $300, or would you rather go for a nice weekend away? I don't know. You let me know, but that's probably the cheapest way to do it, shockingly. Yeah, it's something. This is quite something. So I think this is spicy. I will be honest. I love giving Kaja away as a guaranteed, basically. I think Kaja is a guaranteed. I think that's great. 20 sacreds. If we ignore the timing of it, is 20 sacreds a good price for Kaja? I think it's a little bit pricey for her. Like, I think she's quite similar to Elva. Like, if you look at her base stats, and she's like a tanky reviver. She's very similar to Elva, who was also 20. Very similar base stats. But I do think Elva is better. I think Elva is better for dungeons. Elva brings a lot of healing for your team. And yeah, she basically brings a lot more team healing. Kaja heals herself, but she doesn't heal your team. So Kaja, I feel like, is a more arena, speed-focused, offensive-focused champion than Elva. My impression is that they're similar, but that Elva is actually better, and she was 20. So I think that it is a bit expensive for Kaja. But I think if you're going for the Timit fusion and you've got the shards saved up, I would absolutely go for it. Like for me, in my situation, someone who's been saving shards for ages, I think Kaja is absolutely worth it. And I think her and Timit, I could easily run them together. And they're only 8 books each as well. So 16 legendary books, and you've got a very strong combo ready for arena, which I think is, like I said, I actually think it's quite good. And you could stick them with like an Uko or a Pythion. I think those fusion champions as well, that makes for a strong set, or maybe a Helicath or something. Like, you know, you can make a strong set and then put in a damage dealer of some sort, probably a HP based damage dealer. So like you throw them in with Magnar, Timit, Kaja, like let's say Pythion, Magnar, and that's actually a pretty decent team with like a bit of speed. Maybe Uko's even better than Pythion, I don't know. But yeah, so this is going to be controversial. Let me tell you right now, people are going to flip out about this. Yeah, I think that's the fair way as well. I think this is very controversial. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this and what is going on. Yeah, I think Timit doesn't deserve the hate that he gets. Like, I think I gave him a good summary earlier today. I think on his own, to be fair, he is like a 3 out of 10. Like he's a buff stripper, that's fine, but he's not like remarkably better than just like running a Madame Ceres on his own. Like he's pretty similar, honestly. It's when you combo him with Kaja that they're actually a very strong duo. I think a good comparison is like Cupidus Venus, right? Cupidus on his own, like he's nothing special, right? Cupidus, he's fine, you know, but let's be honest, without Venus, without this, he's not much good. You put Venus in, he does 25% more damage, which is huge, and then he counterattacks every single time. Like that's where Cupidus's power comes from. Without Venus, he's not that amazing. I think it's similar to Timit, Kaja. I think Cupidus, Venus are better than Timit and Kaja. That's probably not a surprise. Venus is a void. But Timit, Kaja, yes, they are a strong duo, and yeah, there you go. Look, let me know what you think. Whoa, boy. I'm going to come back, I guess, tomorrow, and we'll pull a bunch of sacreds. I'm going to get some Dungeon Divers done. I'm actually going to go and double dip the last hour of Dungeon Divers. I am chasing. I don't need these points, but I'm going to grab this Primal Shard here before this ends. And then I got to do champ training. There's like 20 hours left on this, and I still have nearly all of this to do. I'll be able to do it no problem, but I've got to really focus on that today. I'll catch you later if there's any more news, but this is spicy. It's spooky. Happy Halloween, I guess. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.